You're listening to the best gospel station in Thomasville, North Carolina, 103.1 FM, WEOM.
You're listening to Kaye Dee and the Motor Mouth Show on 103.1 FM, WEOM, Thomasville, North Carolina.
They have an in-time over history, and if you think about it, the way that I look at it, once upon a time, these same words that were taken out of the scripture were used to actually suppress black people. Mm-hmm. They were used to enforce slavery. They were used to keep women from being considered anything under the sun other than property of their husbands. They were used to classify women, children, dogs, cats, everything in the household. The slaves, the women, the wife, the children, the dog, the property, the furniture were all classified and using biblical terms as property. And at once upon a time, a white male was the only person, based on biblical quotes and property, that really had a right to do anything.
That part of the land, okay,
exactly.
Where they were at, that's what they used to set their laws and rules and regulations,
pretty much,
and everything.
Pretty much.
And that's their story, because biblical, how they took their stories for their belief system for what they wanted to believe. Because back in those days, when you conquered people, you took away their whole ideology, their demeanor, and everything.
That's it.
And enslaved them into you. You know?
You conquered them mentally, physically, emotionally, socially, and you conquer the whole aspect of
until
something.
they have complete amnesia. That's what you do. Because that's what, not trying to get too deep, but that's what the story of Job reminded me of when God asked Saint, have you seen my servant? Like complete amnesia.
You're going to get a little deep if you want to, Mo.
And to where he did not even realize what a free being would be. Mm-hmm. But, I say he was a slave to God because it said he was, considered thy servant. Mm-hmm. And evidently Satan was a free person, a free being. Because he asked him where did he come from playing with his sons. He said to and from among and back and forth. So, but I'm just saying that, just showing how different people have interpretation of that.
Exactly.
Because that's the way I look at it and everything. And I hardly ever find anyone that believes what I see or think, but that's what the words read. And I don't try to draw nothing more into it or not. And I think, like as far as it goes, I think the biggest problem with the ideal of everything is I think, union, relationships, and different things like that. I think a marriage should be between a man and a woman, from what they have brought forth is down, down to it. And they just need to create another category, another of term or whatever for same-sex relationships, and then allow them to have the same freedom that anybody would have in union or in a relationship. And I think that would solve a whole bunch of problems.
But back on the political front, though.
Yeah, but
I'm hearing you.
That's
I'm
what
feeling
I'm saying,
you on that.
So that's what I'm
because
bringing it to.
The gay marriage thing is going to keep on.
Going to be.
Exactly. It's not going away. It keeps popping up in other areas where they want to use it to kind of steer other issues into it.
And I'm just saying, I'm with Obama on that.
But what's crazy to me is I cannot not even if Mitt Romney said it doesn't matter to me. I can't not vote for someone because they believe in something. If it's just one, it's a big belief. Don't get me wrong. I totally get that. But I can't just not vote for someone because they don't believe 150% in everything that I believe in. I guess that's what I'm trying to say. And for me, looking at it from a historical point of view, there is no way I could see anybody of color telling anybody not to vote.
But that's no more different than, at one point in time when they were trying to say blacks and white couldn't marry each other. And just looking at what the statistics just say for 2010.
And believe it or not,
that outcreased multi-racial marriages outcrease single-race marriages.
And believe it or not, the ability for a black person to marry a white person in Alabama only got overturned in Alabama, a couple years ago.
Yeah.
Okay. So it's not like we're back in prehistoric days with dinosaurs running around with all this.
So, you could look at so many issues, but I'm with Obama. As he's been president, looking at the right and freedom of people, especially what we got left. There's a lot more serious issues, I think, that the church can, bring about than dealing with, about that, and especially trying to tell people not to vote. I
mean,
I think if you don't want to vote, that should be something personally to you and yourself. Not another person
telling you
out
not to vote. And don't get me wrong.
And using their platform for that.
I told Reverend Harrison, look, I understand that people look up to their preachers and their pastors. Hey, not taking nothing against that. But I still think you as a person should not ever let another person tell you whether you should vote. That's something to me that's just so precious. I mean, so many people, it's cliche to say so many people have died for me to vote. But you know what, folks? Look up and refresh your memory and look at some of the visuals that I think about when you think about when black folks actually did try to gain a little bit of freedom to vote.
Yeah, what they had to go through.
People were lynched, okay? Hung from trees, body parts cut off, castrated, fried, baked. I mean, I'm not making this up. Know your history. That's all I'm saying. And my thing is, even if you don't like Obama, even if you don't like Romney, get your butt up and go vote for somebody, okay? People really have died for you just to have the option to go vote. And that just really kind of infuriates me that anybody would tell somebody, just stay home on election day and don't vote. And again, what is that supposed to solve?
But in a way, again, that kind of the same thing as them telling people not to vote, because I think that's a personal right that someone need to make within
on their
themselves.
Own, right. Not letting someone else tell you not to vote.
Where you might be, on your own, because there might be some out there that don't even believe in that system at all.
Right. I mean, if you don't want to vote, let it be a personal thing, not because someone told you we don't like this because he doesn't like that, and we not going to vote.
I always want to know, like, what really came about, us losing the power of vote in the first place, because when I look at real true American history, I always found seemed to me back in the days, there was more black politicians at one time than white politicians.
Yeah, once upon a time.
And then it seemed like at a certain point in time, like when what you were speaking about, the execution and the rights and the heart of them trying to drive them out. I think it was somewhere around about 1640, 1680, when they all of a sudden started trying to pass these acts about blacks, mulattoes, and who could work the fields and who could not work the field.
Once upon a time, you could even go vote, and it had to be based on how many drops of black blood was it. I mean, we went through a lot of craziness.
But even
just
before
to be
that,
able.
Yeah, but before that, and before the founding of what they call United States of America, this government system was completely different.
It was.
And I kind of think like they flipped the script upon us until they got us believing and thinking in certain things that didn't even really exist that way, to cover up what really happened to us as a people. Because I look at Rosewood, I look at Oklahoma, I always call it Wall Street, Black Oklahoma, Wall Street, the Fillmore District and all of that, where you have prominent, striving black businesses and enterprise going on, and then all of a sudden,
and look at what's going on even in Atlanta. So if you get serious, look at the history that happened right here in Atlanta, downtown on Auburn Avenue.
Yeah.
And right now, it's a shame what's really going on with that.
Yeah,
it's pretty. I don't want to say it's bankrupt, but it's not.
Well, it's
thriving.
Like
it's far from thriving.
Well, it's like this here.
It's going down.
Don't have nothing to do with religion. They don't care about it, because the only thing they really got going on Auburn Street, if you ask me, and it's struggling. Is the Martin Luther King Center,
and even the King Center right now is having major financial problems.
And the only
They're like
thing
$30 million.
Is
in
the new Ebenezer Baptist Church across the street and everything. But you're correct. That could be a lot more striving, better.
Did you hear about that motor-mouth? The King Center needs $30 million worth of renovations.
Yeah,
it's gotten so deep with the King Center. They're actually thinking about turning over, the whole economic aspect of handling the operation and everything over to the federal government.
Right.
And you know what's crazy about that to me? Didn't the federal government have something to do with Martin Luther King's assassination? I mean, it's just how I'm looking at it. I mean, in a roundabout way, yeah.
I mean,
so I just think it would be kind of interesting for the federal government to actually end up owning.
Well, they
and
don't really
the
claim anything to do with his.
They didn't
thing,
claim it, but they kind of did.
But you gotta look at the individuals that was working
inside
for
the government.
Right, inside that system.
That's,
they had
that's all I'm saying.
Which open up the doors to the other type of associations or societies that exist within our own government, because it's not completely free, or
however you want to classify it is fine with me.
You got Hoover and all the rest of them that
J.
you can
Edgar
look
Hoover.
at. Right. They had their thing, but now it came out that they also had their own agenda within inside the power that they was given by the government.
Well, I'm not going to sit here and break off percentage-wise which part of the who worked for government had something to do with it, but reality is they had something to do with it on some capacity.
But my thing is like this here, with the King Center. The King Center could be in a different position.
It could.
Financial position. If they, even if they just took in and asked for $1 for everybody to come in, okay? Right. Because there's more than enough people go down there. I went down there this year myself, and I gave $10, to the cause, because me and my grandchildren went through there. But they don't ask for nothing. They sell some waters, this, that, and that. And people complain about that. That's kind of interesting
to me,
but they really should charge something just for the upkeep.
Isn't it technically a nonprofit? They don't ask for anything.
They don't ask for nothing. You can go through the church where he used to preach, Ebenezer, and then you can walk through the King Center.
Because I've gone before. It's just been some years since I've gone down there. Right. It's been a while since I've gone down
there. And I don't think that's much at all for ask for $1.
I don't either.
People coming from all over the world, and they want to visit. That's one of the main things that they want to see when they get to Atlanta.
It is.
And I think even as being a nonprofit organization, they have a right to charge for the operation of their funding. For their operation. That's the bottom line.
Right. Just for operation. Right. Like, forget all the other family stuff that's going on between the King siblings right now. The bottom line is the organization, the structure itself need to be maintained.
They need to charge. As I said, they might not want to do much, but do the dollar. A dollar a head. For everybody. And then if they feel that way about it, charge $1 for the adults or whatsoever, and then the children could get in free.
Right.
For them want to do that. And then I like to say, if the parents can't afford to pay the $1, then let the parents sit. And let the guy go with the guy, and let the guy take the children on in and do what they need, for they can experience it and understand what it means. But I feel that every parent to come down there, they could afford $1. They afford the money to get in their car to go down there.
Not only that, when you get down there, you got to pay to park. I mean, so
really, you don't have to pay to park in that section. That's the funniest thing.
I guess because when I went down there, maybe I think it was something that was going on when I went down to the King Center. It's been a while, but I didn't actually get a park.
You might went down there around the Sweet Arbor Fest or something like that.
I think it was something going on.
Then,
and for me to find a park, I had to pay like $3 to $5 just to park. Then I kind of had to walk back.
Yeah, because
that's Atlanta.
Either church on either side, they don't charge.
Yeah.
Then you got streets still there that you could park on the side of the street, and you don't even have a meter that you have to pay.
Yeah, I guess I just didn't look up when I went down there. But
I hear you.
But I'm with you, Motorbob. Even if I had to do it all over again, I would still pay the park and pay $1 if I was asked, because it's worth it. The experience is awesome.
Because I asked the lady, I said, y'all ain't charging yet. I said, here, look, where can I make a donation? Like that. I said, because this don't make no sense.
Because even,
because they got to maintain. Well, I guess the city will maintain the the grass and the property and stuff.
Right.
But they should.
But people used to throw change like into the not the fountain, but it's not a technical fountain, but the water feature, I guess.
Yeah, where their what you call their tombs is at.
Yeah, but but you can't throw dollars in there. So you're right.
They throw dollars in there, they'll float somebody snatch those out.
But you're right. I think anybody that would visit would definitely understand why if they ask for $1, it wouldn't be a big deal. That's
I don't think so. They need to.
Yeah, they do.
That would be just just the proper thing. And then I'm just saying like this here:
Mm-hmm.
if anybody listen to our show today, and if you go to the King Center, even if you don't go to the King Center, you should just still donate something for the cause, facility. Especially if you're about the struggle of what our people have gone through. Right. You know, this is at least one legacy that we have that we can at least leave with our children that they can see, because we don't have too many other icons that we can
really don't
can fall back on and say, hey, this is something, a monument or something.
Right.
Now, we can say Lincoln, but they already got him. You know, the federal government already got him, you know. At least that's another, you know, black what? That, you know, in case they don't know that, you know, Lincoln was black. Eisenhower was black. You know, I mean, there's a lot of things. Taft was black. You know, we had 6 black presidents before Obama.
And I'm sure we're going to get some feedback on that, and we can follow up on that a little bit.
I just tell the people before they even
want to say
something.
But along the same line, Motormouth, of historical structures,
yes,
there are a lot of historical structures that I think we should never let go, and that is one of them. And even the Lincoln Memorial. Yes. You know, I was fortunate enough to visit the Lincoln Memorial. I think it's awesome to get there. It's an experience. And then along the same line, when you're in the D.C. area, if you ever in Washington, D.C., you have to try to make a trip to the Smithsonian.
Yes.
Oh, my gosh. It's awesome. And it's embarrassing because I lived in the area for a couple of years, and the only reason I actually got through the Smithsonian is when I got older, got married, had kids, and they wanted to go, and I was embarrassed I had not gone there earlier. But it's awesome. They have a Holocaust museum that's awesome. I mean, it's an experience. Everybody needs to feel it. They also have the African American Museum. They have the African American portraits and the pictures. They have the feeling of the slavery exhibit. It is so deep I can't even begin to explain, but you feel it more so than see it. But, you know, long story short, it's awesome. And I guess reality is, with so much going on now, we don't normally get that deep with history like we used to. We just kind of take things for granted. So along the same lines, I'm with Motormouth. If you're ever in the Metro Atlanta area, if you had time, at least swing by the King Center. It's worth it. But meanwhile, we're going to follow up. We're going to take a quick station break, and we're going to follow up a little bit more in detail with maybe Black history. Who knows? They don't really teach it in school. Maybe we should follow up on it on a different level on this show.
You know, before we take a break, I think, you know, I just want to say something. You know, next week, they got the presidential
debates.
Yes.
That's going to be good.
Because, I mean, you know, because I like to see how they're going to really pull this out. Because I think I heard...
I want to see Romney, how he's going to come across.
Well, you know, I heard so many things today that sound positive for Obama that, you know, that by the time when the actual presidential election come around with all the voting that's happening,
the early voting,
he will already have it in the bag.
Well, because when you look at the Electoral College, they were trying to grab Ohio and Florida, right?
I think he was only 10 or 12 away from what he needed.
Yeah, and you know, I'm looking at the popular vote. That's why the popular vote is important, but really the Electoral College is it.
That's what decide. You know,
they really have the deciding factor. But from what I recall that's going on, is no president has ever won the election, popular vote, or Electoral College without at least obtaining Ohio. It was 3 states that were forget. Florida, Ohio.
And I want to say Virginia.
I'm thinking North Carolina.
Might be North Carolina or Virginia, somewhere up there. It's the coast, I think another city on the East Coast.
Well, I'm thinking North Carolina. Yeah. Okay, North Carolina people. I'm just saying.
But, you know, even for Ohio, you know, this morning I heard them speaking that it's already over 10%, and it's all the, what they call it, the room for error or something.
I know what you're talking about.
He's beyond that. Yeah. So whatever they're predicting on that, you know, he's already got that.
Right. As far as the electoral votes and everything.
And I find that interesting because both him and Romney was in Ohio at the same time. I think they spent about 3 days there.
They were. And, you know, Mitt Romney actually came to Atlanta last week. I think it was last week he was here. I don't know what he did when he got here, but he was here. He was here. Probably some function that I couldn't afford to attend, but he was here. Because they do it big time.
Right.
They do it big time.
Well, they all do it big time.
They all do it big time. I'm still waiting on my $35,000 ticket to pop up on my desk for when Obama was here.
Yeah.
He must have forgot my email and my address because I didn't get mine.
I didn't get mine neither. And I got it all posted, didn't tweet me or put it on my Facebook or didn't tell me no way to go and get my ticket.
Nothing. Just came here and blocked up all the traffic, locked down the airport. Had a serious fundraiser and rolled back up.
But I mean, like of all of them. But I hear the issues that they're talking about. But I really want to hear what they're going to do for the common people, the regular people.
I do too.
What are they going to really do about bringing the jobs, in
I do too.
And everything? I heard that, today they got good news that there was 400-some thousand jobs created that they didn't realize that was created, within
really?
Yeah,
Okay.
That they got, good news on the job front, that everything. But then again, we don't know if those numbers true or not,
Well, see, that's the thing that gets me about the job when they come out with the statistics regularly about the job market. Because the thing about it to me is this, and we're probably thinking the same thing, Motormouth. There are a lot of people I honestly believe that are not counted in those stats when they come out regularly. There are a lot of people I think have pretty much given up on looking for employment. And there's a lot of people that are just kind of, they're really true. There's a lot of people working under the table, in the table, around the table, and for the table.
Yeah.
And, and then too, I bet you anything when the holidays kick in, the job stats are going to go, they're going to even out a little bit. It's going to make it look like it's better because you're going to have all this temporary seasonal work going on.
That's what I'm going to say. That's probably might have been what's going on now.
Because people are actually hiring now.
Right, because they had hired the people. They had hired more people for going back to school, to help with the people buying, going into buying school clothes and everything.
That's correct.
But, my bottom line is like this. I don't know if we can believe anything that they print or give us, because it's all done for whatever purpose they want to. And I feel like this here, still to me, they need to bring all the jobs back that they done took overseas.
I think so.
Then everybody could be a little bit more happy because not only could you have a job, but you could have an extra job. You could work 1, 2, 3 jobs if you want to.
That's what you want.
And they try to say Americans didn't want to work. They didn't want to do that. But I have so many friends that work 1, 2, 3 jobs.
Right.
I have some that try to work 4 and 5 that only have part-time here, there, to make it. So I can't believe that,
I don't believe
that
either,
story, that they didn't want to work,
And you know what, Motormouth, you reminded me of when I worked at DFAT because it's, I guess because I get both sides of the coin, both sides of the table. But let me clear up a few other things along that same line. Because I honestly, don't get me wrong, there was a lot of people, and I had over 900 households when I was at DFAC as an eligibility case manager. And there was a lot of people that came in that didn't want to do anything. I'll be the first one to say it. But guess what? Most of the time, I had a larger percentage of people that actually did come in and wanted to do things. And I also had a larger percentage of clients in my caseload that, guess what? They worked. And see, people just automatically think that people come in to DFAC for food stamps, TANF, Medicaid, and assistance. They don't work. That's one of the biggest facades that I can think of. Matter of fact, I can remember I had people that actually had, like you said, several jobs.
Yeah.
They just had several jobs that didn't pay well, but they had several jobs. They just weren't able to pull in enough money, even collectively, to the point where they were not eligible, and they just needed a little assistance.
Exactly.
But that really bugs me. They say Americans don't want to work. Don't get me wrong. You're going to always have somebody that's not going to want to work.
Right.
But you're going to always have somebody that wants to work.
You got somebody that don't want to work. You got somebody going to play the system.
That's it.
And then you got someone that's going to help the system.
Thank you. That's all I'm trying to say, Motormouth.
Right. I'm with you 100%.
But anyway, I just want to get that off my chest.
Debate, I hope that question is asked,
right.
bluntly to both of them.
I agree. I hope they don't get so busy with trying to be something that they're not, and the facades and all this other drama that usually comes into debating with the presidential election until they can't get down to the nuts and bolts of what we really need to hear. Yeah. I'm with you.
Right. I mean, who got nuclear weapons? That's kind of, interesting, but important. But right now, it's about the day-to-day salvation of individuals in this country. That's what need to be on the table.
Because isn't it Syria? Who is it this week that popped up?
Iran.
Iran again. I'm like, oh my God, again? Yeah. They popping up with, I'm like, developing more nuclear weapons.
Yeah, but
I'm so tired of all of this fighting.
I just hope it's not one of those things about population control again. You know,
oh,
and everything.
Lord, Mortimer, we're going to have to do a show
again,
about
that could be about, because again, they don't know if they got the weapons or not. And it could be just like Iraq, you know.
Weapons of mass destruction. Oh,
yeah.
Lord. Let's not go there again.
Yep. Mm-hmm.
But anyway, we're going to follow up, and we are going to take this quick station break, and we appreciate you guys listening and hanging in here with us. We really do appreciate you being here.
And what we're going to come back with after our station break?
We're going to come back, Mortimer, with something a little unique. We actually were fortunate to have a young lady by the name of Tiffany who has a son that has autism. And I appreciated Tiffany so much because, first of all, autism is not something, it's autism spectrum disorder, and it's not something that's discussed openly and all the time, but she was willing to come in and share with us her experience with her son, John, having autism. And Tiffany, if you're listening, I appreciate you. So when we come back, we're going to touch on that with a special interview and special program.